So when I saw that Michael Wolff had released a book called Fire and Fury, I realized that this was a gift to us from the divine. In my past videos, I have said that the divine is going to give us truths that we are to grab onto with both hands. And I view this book being among them. Who knew the divine had a mole in the White House this entire time? I knew that the Trump administration was being watched, but I had no idea how truly sneaky the divine was. He had somebody sitting there inside the White House, watching and writing everything that they saw and heard. So Michael Wolff, thank you for being so brave in writing this book and sharing it with the world, because we deserve to know the truth about what's going on inside the White House. So I saw this as a pleasant surprise because the divine is showing us things. And one of the things in that book they were saying is that Donald Trump doesn't really want to be president. I stand by that assertion. His soul does not want to be president. His soul desperately wants his old life back. The only reason Donald Trump is still president is because of his ego. His ego put him here. So now the divine is forced to make an example out of Donald Trump for the rest of us, so people know it's never a good idea to allow your ego to guide you. It's impure. It's an impure decision. Ego doesn't even exist in the light. There's no such thing as ego in the light. So now, because Donald Trump didn't make a decision based in self-love to actually step down and embrace the truth that he really wants his old life back, now he's past the point of no return. He's on this egoic path. So another thing that was in the book is that a lot of people who were involved in the Trump campaign never really expected him to win. And so they stayed on board anyway to advance their own careers, experience, whatever. So that means that the people around Mr. Trump, their intentions are impure also, which makes them an energetic match for the dark as well, because they had selfish, impure intentions from the get-go. So they're energetic matches for the dark. So it's basically one big Jenga tower that's going to crumble because it's built on lies and ego and falsity. So it makes their empire extremely, extremely weak. What you're watching is a battle of light versus dark here, guys. Don't forget that. This is Star Wars. Star Wars is continuing. It's still going. It hasn't ended. The light hasn't given up. The light is still going. The divine still has a plan. So another thing people were saying is that the people interviewed for this book were saying that they thought Donald Trump was mentally unfit to be president. And this goes along with what the mental health professionals said in a book that they had released last October called The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump, where they were saying that he was a narcissist and having him at the helm of the ship put our lives in danger. They're right. Our lives are in danger, which is why the divine is forced to intervene and to protect us, because our free will didn't put us here. Donald Trump's ego put us here, and that is not our fault. So that's why the divine has to come forward and say, cut, time out, foul, no. You can't put all these people's lives in danger because of your ego. I'm not going to allow this, sorry. So I give kudos to the mental health professionals that wrote that book. And I give kudos to the people in Michael Wolff's book who said they find Donald Trump mentally unfit to be president. That's also true. He is mentally unfit to be president. He has narcissistic personality disorder, which is why his ego is guiding him forward, which is why his decisions are so impure and ego-driven. It's because he has this personality disorder. So not a good person to have at the helm of the ship. So I did make a video reaching out to mental health professionals last year. So I give you guys kudos for speaking your truth and essentially violating the Goldwater rule in doing so. But bravo, truth is truth. Truth is truth. So good for you guys. Keep squawking. So the divine plan is still being carried out. They're being tough as nails on me. I am no longer allowed to have coffee and tea. So I'm really, really, really not happy about that. And I fought it. And what do you know? I came down with acid reflux. Oopsie! Where'd that acid reflux come from? We told you not to drink coffee and tea. So I'm paying for ignoring them. They don't like caffeine. But I think I can probably sneak like a coffee or tea like here or there. But I'm not really allowed to have 16 iced teas per day anymore. And like 2 to 3 cups of coffee. I guess that wasn't really a good habit to have anyway. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying they're coming down harder on me than ever. They're like tightening the belt even more. I don't even think there's anything left. There really isn't. Okay, with regards to my lifestyle. So this divine plan is still going on, right? It's still moving forward. And of course, Bernie Sanders is part of this divine plan because he's predestined to be president. He's everybody's highest good, and he speaks for the light most of the time when he's not recruiting people for the Democratic Party. So Bernie Sanders should be watching Donald Trump right now because Donald Trump's grave error is that he did not make a decision based in self-love and step down. So while everyone else is laughing at me and saying, yeah, right, like he's going to do that, you're an idiot, Christine, it's like, well, I want you to look at Donald Trump's life and see if he would have benefited from stepping down. Would Donald Trump have benefited from making a decision based in self-love and stepping down and avoiding this whole fiasco? Yes, he would. Bernie Sanders, are you watching? Are you watching? Because the divine's asking you to do the same thing, sugar booger. He's asking you to embrace your truth that the Democratic Party screwed you over, make a decision based in self-love, and separate out from it. If you do this, you will be aligning yourself with the truth and the light. And what the divine is essentially asking you to do is asking you to lead the People's Party. Why? Because you, President Sanders, are a powerhouse, and so are the people. So together, one big powerhouse, one big rocket taking off. We're supported by universal energies, the law of attraction. We're endorsed by the divine. The divine is empowering us to take over. Why? Because he no longer has any faith and confidence in the Democratic and Republican parties. Not like he ever did, but now it's gotten out of control to where he has to step in. So the fact that the Democratic and Republican parties are both controlled by wealthy donors and their hidden agendas, the divine is placing the people in a position of power over them. So the Democrats and Republicans are actually very well matched for each other right now, which is why all the races you see between them are coming like pretty close. You know, they're becoming like pretty close calls and stuff. Well, that's because they're energetic matches for each other. That's because every time it goes, it's dark versus dark. So if you have dark versus light, the light takes over. So that's why the divine is saying that Bernie Sanders and the people are a powerhouse. So how about having a race where it's not neck and neck, where it's not a close call? How about having a race where somebody just takes off and wins by a landslide? That's Bernie Sanders plus the People's Party. So the issue is that Bernie Sanders has shackled himself to the dark entity, which is the Democratic Party. And the divine doesn't care what they're promising him at all. He doesn't care. They could promise him, the world. The divine doesn't care. He wants Bernie Sanders to cut the weight off of his ankle and separate out. So the fact that he hasn't done that is hurting him. He's compromising his energy. He's compromising his power. Strategically, it's actually not smart what he's doing politically. He probably thinks it is, but he's wrong. The problem is that he doesn't have enough gas in his tank. I mean, I know I sound really stupid saying this to somebody who's a senator because I'm sitting in my little place in, Los Angeles, California, filming this video while you're in the Senate, but you're about to go up against a very, 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 very powerful dark entities, and you are seriously going up against the big boys. And the dark is going to bring its A game, President Sanders, and you're going to have to bring yours. You don't have enough power right now to go up against what I'm looking at. You don't have enough gas in your tank. You don't have enough power. Yes, you speak for the light. Yes, as an individual, you're a powerhouse, but who cares? Who cares? You're a powerhouse. who's shackled yourself to a dark entity, so you're weak. You're weak. You just compromised your power, dude. You think you have a choice, but you don't, because your decision to stay a member of the Democratic Party affects the masses. Free will gets fuzzy when you're part of a divine plan that affects the masses. So now they're going to tickle your feet. They're going to make you uncomfortable. You're probably going to develop anxiety because your higher self is going to send you negative emotion and anxiety because you're considered off path. I mean, you don't have enough gas in your tank to do what you need to do. You're going up against the big boys. You got to bring your A game because the dark is going to bring theirs. Evil doesn't die so easily, dude. You got to join the people and you got to lead the revolution. And you're not supposed to do it shackled to a dark entity, also known as the Democratic Party. So, Bernie, I hope you're learning from this. I hope you're watching Donald Trump. You definitely need to separate out and make a decision based in self-love. The people are where the truth is. The people are where the power is. The people are where the light is. And the divine is also reiterating the people is where the money is, because he's going to bring resources onto your path if you take this leap of faith. So I guess, oh, that's really cool. The lights just flickered. Oh, it's the other side saying, yo-ho. They're like giving me a high five for saying that, like reiterating, punctuating, putting an exclamation point behind that statement. But anyway, truths are going to continue to come out. Just keep your eyes and ears open. I'm sure the divine has other things up his sleeve that we haven't seen yet. This was a surprise. This Fire and Fury book was a pleasant surprise for me. So keep watching the news, you guys. Keep watching what's happening. And let's pull together, because as a team, we can accomplish anything and everything, because this is a battle of light versus dark. And in the end, the light wins. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.